Part 2. The Quell. Chapter 10. It makes no sense. My bird baked into the bread? Unlike the stylish renderings I saw in the Capitol, this is definitely not a fashion statement. What is it? What does it mean? I asked harshly, still prepared to kill. It means we're on your side, says a tremulous voice behind me. I didn't see her come up. I didn't see her when I came up. She must have been in the house. I don't take my eyes off my current target. Probably the newcomer is armed, but I'm betting she won't risk letting me hear the click. That would mean my death was imminent, knowing I would instantly kill her companion. Come around where I can see you, I ordered. She can't. She's... begins the woman with the cracker. Come around, I shout. There's a step and a dragging sound. I can hear the effort the movement requires. Another woman, or maybe I should call her a girl, since she looks about my age, limps into view. She's dressed in an ill-fitting peacekeeper's uniform, complete with white fur cloak. But it's several sizes too large for her slight frame. She carries no visible weapon. Her hands are occupied with steadying the rough crutch made from a broken branch. The toe of her right boot cannot clear the snow, hence the dragging. I examine the girl's face, which is bright red from cold. Her teeth are crooked. There's a strawberry birthmark over one of her chocolate brown eyes. This is no peacekeeper, no citizen of the Capitol either. Who are you? I ask warily, but less belligerently. My name's Twill, says the woman. She's older, maybe 35 or so. And this is Bonnie. We've run away from District 8. District 8? Then they must know about the uprising. Where'd you get the uniforms, I ask. Stole them from the factory, says Bonnie. We make them there. Only I thought this one would be for someone else. That's why it fits so poorly. The gun came from a dead peacekeeper, says Twill, following my eyes. That cracker in your hand, with the bird? What's that about? I ask. Don't you know, Katniss? Bonnie appears to be genuinely surprised. They recognize me. Of course they recognize me. My face is uncovered, and I'm standing here outside District 12, pointing an arrow at them. Who else would I be? I know it matches the pin I wore in the arena. She doesn't know, Bonnie said softly. Maybe not about any of it. Suddenly, I feel the need to appear on top of things. I know you had an uprising in District 8. Yes, that's why we had to get out, says Twill. Well, you're good and out now. What are you going to do, I ask. We're headed for District 13, replies Twill. 13? There's no 13. It got blown off the map, I say. 75 years ago, says Twill. Bonnie shifts her crutch and winces. What's wrong with your leg? I ask. I twisted my ankle. My boots are too big, says Bonnie. I bite my lip. My instincts tells me they're telling the truth. And behind the truth is a whole lot of information I'd like to get. I step forward and retrieve Twill's gun before lowering my bow. Then I hesitate a moment, thinking of another day in the woods when Gale and I watched the hovercraft appear out of thin air and capture 2 escapees from the Capitol. The boy was speared and killed. The redhead girl I found out when I was at the Capitol was mutilated and turned into a mute servant called an advox. Anyone after you? We don't think so. We think they believe we were killed in the factory explosion, says Twill. Only a fluke that we weren't. All right, let's go inside, I say, nodding at the cement house. I follow them in, carrying the gun. Bonnie makes straight for the hearth and lowers herself onto the peacekeeper's cloak that has been spread before it. She holds her hands to the feeble flame that burns on one end of a charred log. Her skin is so pale as to be translucent, and I can see the fire glow through her flesh. Trill tries to arrange the cloak, which must have been her own, around the shivering girl. A 10-gallon can cut in half. A lip ragged and dangerous. It sits in the ashes, filled with a handful of pine needles, steaming in water. Making tea, I ask? We're not really sure. I remember seeing someone do this with pine needles on the Hunger Games a few years ago back. At least I think it was pine needles, says Twill with a frown. I remember District 8, an ugly urban place stinking of industrial fumes, people housed in run-down tenements, barely a blade of grass in sight. No opportunity ever to learn the ways of nature. It's a miracle these two have made it so far. Out of food, I ask. Bonnie nods. We took what we could, but food's been so scarce. It's been gone for a while. The quaver in her voice melts my remaining defenses. She's just a malnourished, injured girl fleeing the capital. Well then, this is your lucky day, I say, dropping my game bag to the floor. People are starving all over the district, and we still have more than enough. So I've been spreading things around a little. I have my own priorities. Gail's family, Greasy Say, and some of the other hog traders who were shut down. My mother has other people, patients mostly, who she wants to help. This morning, I purposefully overstuffed my game bag with food, knowing my mother would see the depleted pantry and assume I was making my rounds to the hungry. I was actually buying time to go to the lake without worrying her. I intended to deliver the food this evening on my return, but now I can see that won't be happening. From the bag, I pulled 2 fresh buns with a layer of cheese baked into the top. We always seem to have a supply of these since Peeta found out they're my favorite. I toss one to Twill, but cross over and place the other on Bonnie's lap. Since her eye-hand coordination seems a little questionable at the moment, I don't want the thing ending up in the fire. Oh, says Bonnie. Oh, this is all for me? Something inside me twists as I remember another voice. Rue, in the arena, when I gave her the leg of the grousling. I've never had a whole leg to myself before. The disbelief of the chronically hungry. Yeah, eat up, I say. Bonnie holds the bun as if she can't quite believe it's real, then sinks her teeth into it again and again, unable to stop. It's better if you chew it. She nods, trying to slow down. But I know how hard it is when you're that hollow. I think your tea's done. I scoot the tin can from the ashes. Twill finds 2 tin cups in her pack. I dip out the tea, setting it on the floor to cool. They huddle together, eating, blowing on their tea. and taking tiny scalding sips as I build up the fire. I wait until they're sucking the grease from their fingers to ask, "So, what's your story?" And they tell me.